So we got a new character coming to Guilty Gear Strive, Nagoriyuki. We got a taste of him in the first Strive beta a couple months ago, and another one's coming. You might ask, how was he? Well, you know, good and bad. The good.
I tried to. What a. Okay.
Well, yeah, that's pretty good. But what about the bad?
Yes. For those wondering, I basically have no matchup experience. I just hit far slash and bullied him. That's all I know how to do in this matchup. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Hotashi.
Alright guys, so we got a lot to get into. Late, but better than never. First, a summary. Nagoriyuki is a big body character. He's got no dash, no double jump, no air dash, none of that. So he makes up with that with massive, powerful, but very situational normals and specials. His unique mechanic is canceling special moves into other special moves, but he has to manage that as his special moves cost blood meter. They fill up this blood meter, as you can see next to the tension bar. So it makes sense, right? Big damage, big normals, big specials, great pressure up close, sounds strong, but you gotta manage it, right? Well, when an experienced player knows how to fight Nagoriyuki, some really serious flaws start to show. He's very easily exploited, especially by certain characters such as Soul or Amelia, who were very strong in the first beta. So, here's what I think his biggest issues are, but keep in mind that this is just my opinion and mine alone. The weekend of the beta, which was 72 hours, was not enough time for me to gain a complete understanding of all the new systems, such as instant block, faultless defense, which could have made a bigger difference in my opinion. Your experience certainly could have been different than mine. Nagoriyuki gets rushed down from the air very hard. There's really no doubt about it. Without an acceptable anti-air, he gets harassed a little bit too easily. So his best options for anti-air was to hit a 5P or to jump and air to air the opponent with JP, which are both kind of tricky to convert off of. You maybe could go for an air grab, but it's problematic because of his 10 frame super jump, and oftentimes the opponent is approaching from above. And since Nagoriyuki is bigger than other characters, he's more susceptible to getting clipped in the air trying to do something. So you ask, like, what about a 6B? Well, Nagoriyuki's 6B has a terrible hurt box, and it's way too difficult to convert off of, making it pretty hard to use as a traditional anti-air. Now, if you compare that to Ramlafal and Soul's anti-air options, they're all reliable, relatively safe, and they give you huge damage, big positional advantage for landing it, like great reward. Without the deterrent of an anti-air, this just lets opponents bully Nagoriyuki, honestly. So, as discussed, Nagoriyuki has no air dash, no double jump, 10 frame super jump. With all of that sluggishness combined, Nagoriyuki is practically rendered nearly immobile once he's in the corner, with no way to escape a player besides fighting it out, without any way at all to alter his air trajectory either. He's just free food for air grabs or anti-airs if he manages to jump. The only way out sometimes feels like it's gonna be you either burst or you're gonna take the next hit and get comboed into the wall. A little explanation before we get to the complaint here. The blood meter works like this. When you use a special, the blood bar fills. Then, if you don't use a special for a certain period of time, the bar decreases slowly. The more special you use at one time, the faster it fills. Generally, you can use 6 specials in total from empty, and when the bar fills, you go into the blood rage. There's a couple different ways to make it decrease faster, namely hitting the opponent with sword homos, which absorbs blood from the opponent, and hitting Nagoriyuki's command grab, which makes the bar fill up more slowly and decrease super quickly. But overall, the blood rage mode is just way too punishing. Not only do you go into a huge laggy animation that is counter hit on recovery, you lose 60% of your life during the blood rage, and you take Okizeme after the huge combo you're probably about to eat for getting into blood rage. And if you manage to get the blood rage off in a safe way, for example, making the opponent block it, then you don't have access to any special moves. Even if you do that, the blood rage mode is -8 frames on block, meaning if you're in melee range, most characters can hit you with a full punish, but it gets even worse, as the opponent can gold burst to completely go through the active frames of the blood rage and hit you with a massive punish anyway. Honestly, it's just wretched and completely terrible. If you end up in blood rage, you're almost sure to lose. The match flow of Nagoriyuki ends up looking like this. The round starts. After a little bit of scrapping, you get that massive hit in, start a combo, and then the opponent bursts immediately. So you keep on working to get the next big hit, land it, you take 75% of her life bar, and then the wall probably breaks. Now you're back to mid-screen and you have a ton of blood meter, meaning that it's going to be hard to establish real pressure to close out the round. So you try to, lean back on your big normals, but your opponent can just rush you down with impunity because of all the problems listed above. And if you try and force a hit using your specials, you'll just go into blood rage. So what are they doing to help them? After the recent arcade location test and the announcement of the second open beta, We know that Nagoriyuki's getting some important buffs. Number 1, hitting the opponent with sword normals decreases the blood gauge more significantly. Number 2, the cost of using Nagoriyuki's dashes has been cut in half. However, the cost of his slide and double slash special have been doubled, so we'll see how that pans out, I suppose. And we know that Nagoriyuki's and the whole cast 6P, the standard anti-air normal of Guilty Gear, are getting buffed, which is huge. But in conclusion, there's nothing to do about it right now, but wait until the next beta to see how he performs. Because the game is changing significantly, him included. And also, like, even though like we have all these beta tests, the final balance of the game is not necessarily going to reflect it. This video is more for, to spurn forth discussion. So let me hear from you. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Later.